Triple H at the Royal Rumble media scrum was asked 3 different times about the Vince McMahon allegations, and 3 different times his answers were not met to the best standards. Now, one thing that rings clear about Triple H to me is, and I've noticed this pattern going back since the Steve Austin podcast, is he is not good at answering questions. I don't know if it's a case of he just doesn't think quick on his feet, or he wants to articulate a certain point or convey a certain message and it just doesn't translate the way that he wants it to translate, so it makes sense to only him. Now, speaking on my end here, I have that same problem sometimes. I've had that same problem in the past. You know, I've tried to be more, work on being more clear with people. And so as somebody who can kind of relate to this problem, I think that I can understand where Triple H is coming from a little bit more than most when it comes to his answers. But now, that's just Triple H. That's just me talking about Triple H in general. If we're talking about the actual answers, the content of his answers here that he gave, they were very hollow, right? There wasn't much substance to them. And whether he did or didn't mean to come off this way, he came off dismissive. He did. There's no denying that. And I feel like the way that he answered, I mean, if I'm being honest, it just wasn't it, right? A lot of what he was saying was kind of deflective as well. You know, he continued to say that he would rather focus on the positives. He doesn't want to get bogged down into the negatives of the situation. And another thing was asked is what steps are being made so that this doesn't happen again. And his response was very general. He even mentioned that it was generalized. He said, everything possible. Essentially, that tells us nothing. But the thing about it is, I'm trying to also understand it from Triple H's perspective. Vince McMahon is Triple H's father-in-law. Vince McMahon does have some sort of a relationship with Triple H, so I can understand him not wanting to talk badly about Vince McMahon, not just from a father-in-law perspective, but their own personal relationship. I mean, they've worked together for I don't know how many years. Of course, they're going to have that sort of relationship that they have, that he's not going to want to disown Vince McMahon. That does not excuse his answers, but this is what I'm understanding from the situation. This is what I think of the situation. Do I think he could have said more? Yes. But he was in a no-win situation, really. No matter what answer you give, he does not win here. And I think for Triple H, you know, I don't know what response I would have given if I were in his position. And I'm being genuinely honest when I say that. I don't know. Because it is a tricky situation. So then, you know, you factor that in. Then you take in other things into account, like a question that was asked of him was, did he read the lawsuit towards Vince McMahon himself? He said he didn't. He didn't read it. Now, I can honestly believe that he didn't read it because, I mean, he is heavily responsible with the creative team and the Royal Rumble and the road to WrestleMania and all of these other things. I can imagine how much time that is consuming. Triple H probably doesn't have time to read this sort of thing. He probably doesn't have the time to read it I'm sure if he were in a less busy role, then yeah, he probably would have read it by now. Maybe he even read a couple of pages, but who knows? But his response itself, I feel like, yeah, it was left to be desired. Absolutely was. And I think from his standpoint, another thing to be taken into account is maybe getting caught into this conversation. You got to understand he's a father as well. You guys got to understand that. Maybe this sort of thing triggers feelings for him that he doesn't want to get into. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I'm not defending Triple H, but I am trying to see why, or trying to understand why his responses were the way they were. Because the reality of the situation is, it's not a good look as a representative of the company. It is absolutely not a good look that he was being asked these questions and he wasn't prepared for them. So, who knows? Chances are, if they do another post-pay-per-view scrum at Elimination Chamber or even WrestleMania and he gets asked this question again and again, because chances are it might come back to bite him. And chances are it'll probably revisit. So let's say these questions come up during the post-pay-per-view scrums, come Elimination Chamber, and come WrestleMania. Is he going to give the same answer that he gave at the Royal Rumble? I would sure hope not. I would sure hope not, and I would sure hope that he has a more prepared answer, because I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, look, I am just as shocked at these allegations as you guys are. I had no idea any of this was going on. Vince McMahon is not in charge of the company anymore. Rest assured, we are under a new regime, which means none of these things are going on any further. That's it. You could say that, make it clear he has nothing to do with WWE anymore. Simply put, WWE is under Triple H and Nick Khan and whoever else is in TKO, right? And even Triple H, he's just creative. So there is absolutely no sign of Vince McMahon anywhere. So there's that. That's the sort of answer he could give. Or he could even say ahead of time, whether right before he's going to be asked questions, he could say ahead of time, hey guys, please don't ask about the allegations. I want to keep this, I want to keep these questions strictly about wrestling. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Maybe that wouldn't be such a good look. But, hey, I'm not representing the company. So, we'll see what happens next going forward. Hopefully Triple H has a better answer next time.